Hey guys, I finally made it. So I had to go put some powder on my face because I was so freaking shiny. I looked like I had grease all over my face. And then I had to change my shirt because I had stripes on. It would totally screw with your head if you saw what the stripes were doing with the green screen, because it was just moving around like, I don't know, it was strange. Okay, so I'm settled. I'm finally settled. Oh, and the reason I was a little bit delayed is because I just got an email from Smart Art Box to say that they sent me the second box. So I was like, oh, far out. Tomorrow is the last day of December. I need to do the December art box. So tomorrow I'll be doing a live stream for the December Smart Art Box. And then second week of January, I will do one for the January Smart Art Box. So, yes, I thought I'd just get that up and out of the way straight away so that that was sorted and in the portal for you guys. And now I can get going with the crow. So, the crow. This drawing has been driving me crazy. So, I spent so much time on the background. I like the background. I love it. I think it actually turned out pretty good. I wanted it to turn out better, but I mean, we're using colored pencils, so getting a really soft background with colored pencils is not that easy. Like it's much easier to get a real soft background with using an airbrush. But this background looks pretty soft, not as amazing as a reference, but I mean, it still looks really nice, and I'm quite happy with it as it is. So, right. The issues that I had with it. So the background I'm happy with. I didn't have any issues with the background. But the mistake that I made was because I was working the background so much and spraying fixatives and stuff, I wasn't even thinking about how the fixative is going to affect this part of the crow. I was just spraying fixative left, right, and center and only focusing on the background and not thinking about how it's going to affect my layers of pencils over the top of it. So I made the mistake of placing the textured fixative, the brush and pencil textured fixative, on top of the Mikador matte workable fixative. And for some reason, well, not for some reason, but what's happened is that it's created a, I don't know, it's created like a different surface to my paper. So when I apply my pencils and blend it with solvent, it's almost like the solvent and the pencils want to move off of the paper. It's like by combining the two fixatives, I've almost created a layer that's not allowing the pencil or the solvent to really sort of go into the paper. It's like it's just on the top surface of the paper. It's not being absorbed into the paper because of the amount of fixative that I placed on there before even putting any colored pencil on it. For the crow, that's what I mean. So, yes, that is the issue I had. And now, when I carry on here, you'll see part 3 of the crow tutorial, or part 2 with the head. I have to edit it still, but I will have it up hopefully tonight. And then this is going to be the rest of it, which will obviously be a follow-up of that one. So, I think the only tutorials on there is just all the background time that I spent with the background. I just got a message on Patreon, so I just want to check that everything's okay. Okay, Ronnie's asking what are the art boxes that I'm talking about. Ronnie, are you not able to get onto the YouTube chat? The art boxes, so this is pretty cool. They're called Smart Art Box, which is a monthly subscription box where they send full-size art supplies. You won't know what it is until you get it, but they send a subscription box out every month with full-size art supplies for you guys to test out. So you pay a monthly subscription and then you get a box in the mail. That's pretty much what it is. So they have been kind enough to send me a box for December. So I will be doing a video on the supplies that are in that box tomorrow, and I'll do it live and I'll demonstrate everything. I have had a look in the box because I need to be prepared or sort of understand what's going to happen, because if I'm doing it live, I need to know what I'm going to be doing. Otherwise, I'll be there reading live, which is not something you want to watch. But yeah, so that's what it is. It's called Smart Art Box. So if you look up smartartbox.com online, you'll be able to see the subscription box that I'm talking about. But anyways, we'll go through all of that tomorrow. And that's that video is going to be live to everybody, not just students. So yeah, that's for everyone. Right. Okay, so I am gonna keep going with what I've done here. All I've done is I've used an indigo blue Prismacolor pencil and I've defined some of the feathers. That is all that I've done here so far. And I just created a couple of small or light layers, because the first step that I usually take in the drawings is to find where the values are. And in this case, it's just a matter of looking at the shadows and that in the feathers, and looking at the patterns in the feathers. So let me get my reference. I haven't even got my reference yet. Okay, so okay. Right, so I have my reference on my phone here, and I'm just going to start working on a section. So what I have here is I have my phone, and then I just zoom into a section and move it around like that as I need it. So I have that right underneath the drawing, which makes it a little bit easier for me to see. Okay, so let me put the camera on here. Okie dokie. Now, let me finally have a sip of coffee. Just what I needed. I was yawning in this morning's earlier stream. Radio, so what I'm going to do here, on the top left of the screen, I will be typing out whatever colors I'm using at the time, or if I'm blending with solvents or whatever the case is. So I want to use my indigo blue pencil again, so I'm going to be using my Prismacolor indigo blue. I'm going to just get some of these pencils here. Okay. Where is my indigo blue? Here it is. In the wrong spot. Okay, so I've got the indigo blue. So I'm just gonna keep working on a section. So I want to, these feathers that you see at the back of the head here are, they're not very defined, so you just want to get a pattern in there. So it's almost like they have little soft little spread out edges. They don't have straight edges like these feathers here. Oh, I said I was going to put the... So this is PC 901 Indigo Blue. Okay. I'm wondering if I should make that the font color white. maybe I'll move it across to there instead. There we go. That's a bit easier to see. Okay, so I just want those patterns. And when I apply solvent, I'm going to show you what I mean about what the mistake that I made with the fixatives. So what I should have done is I should have sort of covered the crow somehow, maybe with a masking tape or frisket or something, to protect it from the fixative, because it didn't need any of the fixative, just the background did. But I kept spraying the fixative on the crow before I even applied any color on the crow. Okay, so no details yet, we just want values. So now I'm gonna go to the chest area here. So the same with the chest, like you just have to look at it closely and pay attention to the shapes and patterns that are there, because there's a wide variety of different kinds of feathers on here. So the surface of the paper, just to try and describe to you what it feels like, is the surface of the paper feels like plastic. Like it doesn't feel like I am, like there's any grit at all, if that makes sense. Like it doesn't feel like the pencil is really going into the paper. So I really did, do not mix your fixative sprays. That's the only advice I can give you. If there's anything that I've learned from this, it's do not mix your fixative sprays. Either use one or the other. Do not use both a textured fixative and a matte workable fixative, because it is not going to work. So I'm hoping that my crow will still end up looking semi-decent, but I'm not, like, I would like it to be even more detailed on the head here, but I cannot add any more detail to it. It won't stick. And it sounds strange, because you think that, oh, you applied so much textured fixative and matte workable fixative, you think that you'd have more than enough tooth now to apply your pencils to it, but it has some sort of reaction when you mix it with another fixative, and it just doesn't feel the same. Yeah, no worries, Maureen. You'd think that it'd be logical to, you know, maybe do some research first before you mix your two fixatives, but nah, I just did it. I didn't even think about it. And then I didn't even think to cover the drawing either. So, yeah, just something to keep in mind. So underneath here, there's some darker areas. some rounded feathers. This feather here is quite dark. And then these feathers here are a little more textured. And there's some fluffy ones under here. Let me just sharpen this. Oh, Barb, I hope you feel better soon. Okay. So I see that I'm moving my head out a bit. So let me move myself back in there. Okay. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do now for the 5-part tutorial. So even though it'll still be 5 parts, I will be doing them live like this. So you'll still have the color on the screen. And yeah, is this okay for you guys? Because it helps me. I'll be honest, it does help me because it saves me from having to re-edit everything and go through all the footage. And then that means I can get more content out to you guys quicker if I do it this way. Oh, cool. Maureen thinks it's better. Because my initial thought was, like, in the beginning, is I didn't want to do it this way because if you're going back and you're looking at old videos, you're listening to the conversations that we're having at that time. And then I was like, I don't want to include that in the tutorial videos. I just want the tutorial videos to be about the tutorial, not about the conversation of that time, because then it becomes outdated and then that conversation, you know, is from a while ago. But then I thought, what difference does it make? Because most of the time the conversations that we have in the live streams are human conversation, and it's nice to have this human interaction. And if you're going to listen to this in the background while you're creating your art, it's a little more exciting than having these long sections of just pure quiet and then mentioning what I'm doing in the next section of a drawing. So it's I don't know. I think I like that term. It makes the videos more human. And a lot of what we do speak about in the conversations during the live streams are pretty relevant to, you know, struggles that you guys might be having with the drawings, or your opinions on art supplies and stuff, which is information that other people find useful. Marjane says yes please. Cool. And I like it. It's more fun for me too, because then I'm not sitting here on my own. I feel like I'm having a conversation, and then the time passes nicely. It doesn't feel that much longer. I have noticed, like, after the November live streams, when I started doing work, you know, on my own without you guys, I was like, oh, it's way too quiet. It feels like I'm missing my friends. Like, you guys are my coffee dates. my live stream coffee hangout team. So this is far more exciting. Okay, can you see what I'm doing? I'm just I'm using this one color and I'm just establishing shapes and values, and then I'm going to do the same for the tail. So all just with the one color. We're not worried about details yet, and we're not worried about layering the different colors yet either. So with the tail feathers, I'm just focusing on where these shadows are. Excuse me. Let's just sharpen that up again. Cool. So the live and chat is more watchable for you, Maureen. Okay, this is good information. I like knowing this stuff. Maureen says, I find I only watch videos when I'm bored or can't sleep. Bob says live is better. Cool. That's good then. So I'll keep them all live. You guys are making my life very easy. You're saving me a lot of time by doing that. But you also, you're doing it, you're saying it because that you think it's better as well, not because it's saving me time. So it happens to be a bonus that it's going to save me time too. And then yes, I can get more content out to you quicker, because I'm not worried about editing and rendering and uploading time. Because then I need to make it so that the only time I can upload is at night when we're sleeping, and then if something goes wrong, I won't know until the next day, and then I have to wait till the next night to upload it again, because it takes 5 to 6 hours for me to upload a video that's more than an hour. So frustrating things like that I won't have to deal with anymore if I just have it live. And I'm wondering if the tips and tricks video should be live too. But that's up to you guys. Because remember, if you guys aren't happy with the live as well, and this is something I really want to point out to you guys, I'm recording all of it through my DSLR, so I can go and edit the videos after if I choose to. So I still have all the high quality videos of it, and if we do a live stream and you find that you'd like a much shorter version, I am still able to do that because I have the recordings. I see you, Ronnie. Sorry to hear about your connection. Yeah, totally, Majin. So if I get some of you that would like a video that doesn't have so much chat in it, or something that's shorter, then I can always go ahead and change it or do a new voiceover. Exactly right. I'll only do new voiceovers for shorter videos though, so not for like the whole 3, 4, 5 hours that I'd be streaming. Okay, we are getting closer to the point now where we can just blend that in with the solvent. And then we can start going feather by feather and sort of fix it up. Or add more details that way. Okay, these are quite light. I don't want to go too much darker there. This section here is quite dark. Thanks, Maureen. I'm excited about the art box too. So I read the pamphlet, so I know what to do. And I have a few extra ideas from the pamphlet now. So I can prepare for that ahead of time instead of doing that during the live stream. So it's gonna be good. And I'm really glad that I looked in the box first, because it's something I've never ever done before. So I wouldn't have had a clue. I would have been sitting here reading and trying to prepare for probably an hour before I could do anything live. So I'm glad I opened the box. Yeah, so that's that section. And then that one's pretty dark. Okay. Right. Okay, so I'm gonna blend that in now with solvent, and I'm gonna show you what happens. First, don't mind me while I have a block of chocolate. Okay, so I'm taking my zested solvent and I want to blend this in. Now I may have to like really zoom in to give you an idea, because I'm not sure how to explain what's happening. I feel like I need to just show you. Okay, so that's super close up. I'm gonna show you that when I blend, it's, I don't know, the surface of the paper is just not like it is on regular piece of paper, like on regular, like without the solvent. It still blends, like I can still finish this drawing, but it's not as nice a surface anymore. So remember, the paper I'm using is a smooth watercolor paper. It's the Fabriano Artistico hot press 200 GSM paper, which is an incredibly smooth paper. but I have a texture on here, but it's also almost like the texture, I don't know. When I apply more layers, you might be able to see what I mean. Okay, here's a good example. So now I'm going to this section that's got a little bit more blue on there. And watch what happens. Do you see how it like lifts off? I don't have much solvent on there, but it looks like I have a lot of solvent on, and it's lifting it off of the paper when the paper is supposed to be absorbing it. That, like, I want it to be adhering to the paper. I don't want it to be lifting off of the paper. Yeah, it is grittier, but not grittier like in the sense like sanded paper where the grit helps the pencil really stick to it. It's like grittier as in there's sand on the paper that's no, it doesn't even feel like grit. I don't know how to explain it, but it's like there's something on the paper that's not allowing the pencil and the solvent to absorb into the paper. It's just staying on the surface of the paper. That's the problem I'm having. And then whenever you have a thick layer, it's like swiping it off. It's weird. Yeah, let's try this section and you'll see. Do you see that? It's supposed to... let me get a piece of paper and then I can show you what it's supposed to be doing. Let me get the same paper and then you'll really know. Okay, here we go. So I've got this paper is the same paper, the Artistico paper, right there. So there I've just applied a layer of blue. So where's my blue? So this is the same paper. So I'm gonna apply that there, and now I'm gonna blend that in with my solvent, and this is what's supposed to happen. Do you see that? It gets more pigmented and it doesn't move around. Oh, it's not even on the freaking screen. Okay, I'll show you guys that again. There we go. Let's put that there. Okay, so I'm taking my indigo blue pencil and I'm applying a light layer on my paper, and then I'm blending it with solvent, and look how smooth that looks, and it's not moving around. So I'm hoping that makes sense. And then over here it's not going into the paper like here. See how it's moving around on the surface? It's like the paper's not absorbing it. So when I apply more layers, all I'm doing is moving the layers around. It's not actually sticking, it's not absorbing. So that's like the best way I can explain or show what happens when you spray two different fixatives on top of each other in multiple layers without having any underlayer with colored pencils. It like changes the whole surface of your paper. Your paper is not even the same anymore. So that's the trouble that I had, or that I'm having. So I'm gonna persevere through this drawing because I cannot start over and I need to finish it. But at least that's a handy tip for you guys. Learn from my mistakes, and yeah, don't mix any fixatives. Okay, let me zoom back out. Okay, so you get the idea. Alright, so what I'm doing now, I need to remember to put on the screen what I'm doing. Oh, and record. Thanks, Maureen. So when I did this whole head, you know, with this problem, so it is possible to still complete this drawing, but I don't think by any means that this is an archival drawing. It's not. It's like, I don't know. If it can't be absorbed into the paper, or you know, have at least a good feeling of adherence to the surface of the paper, then I wouldn't call it a good quality drawing. If that makes sense. Doesn't matter how good the drawing itself is, but the quality of the drawing isn't any good because of the mistake I made. But this is how we learn, isn't it? And this is good. It may sound bad, but I would love to watch other artists just mess things up. I would totally love to watch that. It would make me admire them even more. Majin, I wanted to tell you, I'm getting to a point where I'm getting close to reading your books. I just want to finish the books that I'm reading now. So I'm curious to know, have you ever heard of Dolores Cannon? Majin, I think you might find her quite interesting. And if you have, I'd love it if you can PM me on Facebook and let me know what you think about her. She's a very interesting person. I know that's a little bit off topic, but I was just curious. Majin's asking, did the head require more layers than usual? I didn't even get to do many layers. I think I did 2 layers on the head and I can't apply any more because it just moves around too much. So I just made a point of putting really dark layers down so that it looks layered enough. So unfortunately this mistake is forcing me to do things in ways that I don't usually do it. But I wouldn't say more layers than the body. It'll probably end up being the same sort of thing. The feathers of the body, that I'll do it in the same, using the same approach. So with the head, I also put the indigo blue down first, and then I started adding more and more. So I'm going to do exactly the same here, so you'll get to see. Okay, cool. Check her out and then let me know what your thoughts are. Oh, there's a click. It's amazing to me how different the color is that you guys are seeing compared to what I'm seeing. So the color that you guys are seeing on the screen, it almost looks like it's got like a greenish tone in there. But the color I'm seeing is, it's got no green, it's definitely blue. So yeah, if you are using the same colored pencils as I am, and you're following along in one of these tutorials, just be aware that the color that you're seeing on the screen isn't necessarily the color. Just read which color pencil I'm using. Oh, this chest is going to be interesting because I can really feel it moving around. Look at that. It won't even stick to that section. I cannot believe that there are only 2 more days of this year left. Isn't it insane? And I think this has been my best year, the best year in terms of art and life decisions and everything. It's just been unreal. So in November, we were already here for a year. So I don't know, some of you might remember, it took us so long. It took us almost 8 months to sell our house in Perth because we wanted to move to the country. And poor Vinny, he'd spend about 3 hours a day just stuck in traffic. So he's you know, 9-10 hour day would end up being a 12-13 hour day, and he'd be exhausted. And it's just, and then we would never go anywhere because he'd be so tired, you know, and the last thing he'd want to do on his spare time is travel. So it eventually got to a point where it was really wearing him out, and me as well, because, you know, it wasn't a healthy way to do things. And so we were like, ugh. And so many people in Perth were struggling to find work and things, so we were like, maybe Perth isn't the best place for us. And then last year in February, we came to visit his family here in Leeton, and then we just made the decision. We were like, we have to move here. And we did. When we got back home, we put the house on the market, and everybody was selling at the same time, so we really had to bring our price down a lot. We lost a lot of money, so it was a very, very stressful year last year. And then in November, when we finally got to move, excuse me, we settled in here immediately. Like we sold our house in October last year. And then we were looking the whole year while the house was on the market. We were looking for places in Leeton, and we just couldn't find anything. The day we sell a house, we find this house, and then this house was only put on the market on the day that we sold the house, and it wasn't even on the market yet. It was about to be on the market, and then we bought it. We just knew this was the house we wanted to live in. And it's just amazing how it all just streamlined from there. Everything just worked out perfect, and everything was just, it was amazing. Everything was just working out. Didn't matter what it was. Vinny found a job that was only 20 minutes away from where we live, and we're close to his family and friends. And then I started doing workshops and that here in Leeton, the art society here is huge. So many ladies that like to do artsy crafty things. And then and yeah, it just all went up from there. So this year has been just unreal. It was so amazing. I just had to change the battery. Right, Mojine's asking, does the first layer of pencil help create a better surface for the next layer? I think maybe a little. Yeah, maybe. Because then you're applying it on another layer of pencil, not so much on the stuff that we sprayed on the surface of the paper. So we'll have to see what happens when we add the next layers of pencils. Oh, so Mojine, you can relate. Yeah, sometimes those big decisions just need to be made. Sometimes a big move is... Because I mean, that was such a big move. We moved across Australia, from Perth to New South Wales. Complete opposite side. No, it was a very big change. And it was an expensive move, so that kind of big move is something that you do once in your lifetime, I think. But it was the best move because everything just fell into place the minute, you know, we managed to sell the house and we got here. It all just worked out. But it was, while the house was on the market, it felt like the longest year ever because it just was not selling. Because in our suburb alone, we had another 120 houses on the market as well. Because we lived on the coast. So we were a 10-minute walk from the beach. And the houses on the beach were going for cheaper than our house. That's how bad it was. Well, that's how desperate everyone was to sell. So we really had to bring the price down. Because we built our house. It's a $500,000 house that we built there, and we had to, we lost about 40K on it. But, it was a decision for the better. And if we waited any longer, it would have gotten way worse. It wouldn't have gotten any better. Mojine's asking, where does my dad live? Yeah, my dad lives in Perth. So, my dad's in Perth, my mom's in Israel. I've got a brother in Israel, a brother in Darwin, and a brother in Perth. And then my dad's parents are in Perth as well. And yeah, a few of my friends. But otherwise, everyone's all over the place. Whereas Vinny's got such a big family. Far out, he's got a big family. And most of them are here. Or close to here, so in Melbourne or Canberra. So it was just better to move here for him. He's got more here. And he moved to Perth for me for 5 years. So, and I work from home, so it's easy for me to be anywhere. So I was happy to make the move for him. Okay, let's add some more color. I'm gonna go in with the black. PC 935. Hey Heather. Rightio. So now I'm going to define those shapes of the feathers. It's exactly what I did here. I first went in with indigo blue and then I used the black and made sure to go in the right direction. So I'm just following my reference, following the direction of the feathers and the patterns that I can see. Under this one is really dark. I went back to Perth in June, July to go visit everybody. So I'll probably go back once a year. So I'll still see everyone. I went to Darwin. I'm secretly hoping my brother in Darwin will move close to here because they having their first baby. And my brother doesn't want to live in Darwin. He just wants to finish his contract because it's not an easy place to live. Far out. It's so hot there. It's like living in an oven full time. It's like on the tropics. So it's very, very, very humid and hot there. And yeah, it's just not a place where my brother would like to. My brother and his wife would like to bring up a child. So I'm hoping that maybe they'll move here. Once his contract's finished, and then I'll be an auntie in April. I almost drank solvents. So a very dark shadow under here and here and under here. I do feel like the pencil over the pencil, it feels a little bit better. Yes, first baby on my side of the family. So first grandbaby and baby. I'm actually really happy because I'm the only girl, I'm the eldest, and then Darren, the one having the baby, he's a year and a bit younger than me, so he's 26 now. And the other two are still young, so they're only 17 and 18. And I don't think I am ready for kids anytime soon. It may not ever happen. So I was very pleased to hear that Darren at least can sort of carry on with the family name. And yes, there'll be a baby, a grandbaby. It puts the pressure off of my shoulders. Yeah. So I really hope they'll move close to me. We live in a small country town, perfect for bringing up a new family. Okay, I'm just drawing, I'm not even paying attention to the reference. I'm making some of these a bit too dark. And it's so sweet when I talk to my brother, just he's so excited to be a dad. And they know what they're having a little girl. So, and she's due on the 28th of April and my brother's birthday's on the 26th of April, so they might even share a birthday. Ah, Majin was 13 when her first niece was born. Yep, I'm gonna be 28 when she's born. Yes, I'll spoil her. I will have so much to do with her, like arts and crafts. It'll be so much fun. We'll get messy with paints and stuff. It's so nice to see a child do art because you can just see the wonderment in their eyes and the excitement. But yeah, I gotta prepare for a mess. Prepare for a mess. And you know what? It's easy when you're an auntie. You only have to prepare for the mess on occasion. Not daily. I don't know if I should say that. Majin says 4 of my nieces have kids. Christmas has gotten expensive. I know. Wow. Yes, Christmas would have gotten pretty expensive. It's nice though when all the kids are like 10 and under, because then you can just buy them a whole bunch of really cheap toys. But when they start going over 10 and then they're in their teenage years, then I could imagine it getting pretty expensive. Because then they start getting really picky, don't they? Okay. So with the highlighting, because this is not layering nice at all. Like, it feels awful the way this is layering. So the highlighting in the feathers and that, all of the feathers, I think I'm just going to use my titanium white, and that will solve that issue. I'm not even going to try and use my white wax base pencil for the highlighting. Yep, Majin. I think everybody's taking on that trend along with ya. Gift vouchers are just the way to go now. And people can get what they want. Heather says, I've been swatching up my pencils like crazy the last couple of days. I wish it moved faster. I know. It gets a bit tedious. You have to have an audiobook or have a movie or something on in the background and just do it naturally. Don't even think about it, because then, yeah, you just have to sit and do something else while you are, watch something else or listen to something else while you're doing the swatches, because it is a long process. It's worth it, but it's a long process. Margine says, I gave 2 nephews checks for Christmas in 2016. Their mom found the checks in their piggy banks in April. Note to self, no more checks. Ooh, Heather says, I blame you for the new Faber-Castell watercolor pencils that came in the mail today. Ooh. Yes. I take full responsibility for that blame. They are amazing pencils. They are such nice pencils. And using them for the underlayering of the last 2 eye tutorials I did, that was really fun. That'd be great. I think if I'm gonna do a horse again, I need to do a horse at some point. Again, then I definitely would like to, just like the whole body of the horse, the watercolor underlayering would be perfect for that. Okay, now I'm gonna just use a very sharp black, because these wings are not that black. All the black is more around the bottom areas. So I'm just gonna sharpen this and then define the parts underneath the wing feathers. Aww. Heather says, I had to work today, so couldn't swatch or play. Yep. So the human routine gets in the way. So with feathers, you can actually outline them like this. Usually you avoid outlining things because it just looks weird, but the feathers do have the shadow right underneath them, so you can outline them. You want to outline them with very fine, sharp lines. You don't want to overdo the outlines. So use nice fast strokes like that. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just using the side of the black pencil and I'm going to block in all over. Just a light layer so that that blue isn't quite as dominating. So just to give it a dirtier touch almost. And then I want to add some purple, I think. Oh, I had to cut out card kits and type up instructions. Making up instructions takes longer than swatching. I used to create my own little art boxes every month on Patreon, and I even made my own boxes, and it was so time consuming. I understand exactly what you mean. Right, purple. I want... Purple is a great color to use because it's in the background, and you see how the blue just makes the crow look so separate to the background at the moment. So when we start adding in those purples, it's going to look better. So I'm going to use some of the dioxine purple hue, PC 132. Okay. Hey Mo. Okay. So now I'm going to do the same thing. Is I'm using the side of the purple and I'm just going to cover it all. And then I'll focus on more areas. So this is just going to help reduce that real dominating blue by incorporating some of the background colors. Okay, now I'll start focusing on some of the feathers. Remember, with the highlighting, I'm not even worried about the highlighting right now. I'm going to do all the highlighting with the titanium white. Yes, Amal, that's exactly what I wish I did, but it's too late. Yes, so if you're going to spray with fixatives when you're working on a background, then I would definitely recommend that you cover the main subject matter with Frisket first, so that you don't have the problem I'm having now, where the surface of the paper, because of the fixative, is just not right. Okay, there's quite a bit of purple here. Okay. So we're getting closer to blending this in again with the solvent. And then we can see how we go. And we'll see if that's going to be possible for us to add more. see if it'll be possible for us to add more layers later. Okay, so now we're going to blend with solvent. I'm going to use a bigger brush to save time. So my brush is fairly dry. So there really isn't that much on my brush. It looks like there is, but there's not. So I'll just dab it, and then sort of that helps with the texturing. It's almost like you have to dab it, because otherwise you're just gonna brush it off. So take advantage of your brush to create those little textured marks. So blend it as if you were blending each feather on its own. That almost looks like we've applied highlights there when we haven't. So that's working out in our favor. Look at that, it's starting to look like feathers. I haven't even done any highlighting. Yay! One good thing is happening. No worries, Amal. Hey, Jackie. Cool, it's starting to actually look like feathers, which is nice. I wonder if you can see, like, there's really very, very little on my brush. But it's getting very dry now, so I'm gonna have to add a little bit more. That's extremely purple. I will be adding more blue to that. And black. I'll have to. Let's blend these. Okay, so some of my lines are disappearing here, but I can add them in later. Too much. We might be able to take advantage of the fact that this color can move around so much. And maybe take advantage of it by lifting color off for the highlights. Maybe. Okay, so I'm going to add more blue and black. I'm getting a dead leg. I've been sitting on my leg. Should really stand for a little bit. I've been sitting way too much. Okay, I'm gonna stand. Now my head is just going to be a little bit too high if I make this higher, you're gonna see everything on top there. Okay, you guys don't need to see me. I'm just gonna remove myself completely. There we go. Right. So adding more black just to reduce the purple a little. I know my feathers are way too dark. Like I said, I'm not worried. I will be highlighting later. Lighten it all up. And we might be able to do that with the solvent. Okay, adding this black everywhere. I'm not pressing hard, it is a light layer. And then I'm also going to add, oh sorry, I didn't change that on there. So now I'm going to add some of the indigo blue. PC 901. Just because it's way too purple. Okay, now I'm gonna blend that up and let's play around with the solvent, see what it can do for us. Thanks, Maureen. We're taking advantage of what it can do with the moving around of colors. So now I have solvent on here. Let's say I want to work on some of these feathers and lift off some of the color. We can, because the solvent isn't, I need a smaller brush though. Because the color isn't adhering to the paper very well, we could use this for highlighting. So let's start bringing out these feathers. How cool is that? So there is an advantage to our mistake. We can lift the color off. So while we can do that, may as well do it. So let's use this as a highlighting method. So we're still blending with our solvent, but at the same time, we're also lifting any excess off to create highlights. I want to see, I have another brush I can use. Yes, this one's going to be better. So this brush is a little bit more of a flatter, straighter sort of look, so it might be able to texture some of these areas better. Ooh, this is fun. Do you see how good that's working out? So I guess the key now is not to lift off too much. Cool. I think I even want to do a little bit here. Okay. Before I carry on with that, I want to add some of this purple in the head just to balance that out a little. So the dioxazine purple hue. Dioxazine. PC 132. Just add a little bit in the head here. And there we go. Now it all seems to balance a little bit more. Just that little bit. That's all we needed to do. And now we're going to blend with solvent and use it to texture as well. Keep working on these. Cool, this is really working to our advantage. Okay, so I can move back to the bigger brush now that we're not on those teeny sections anymore. Too much, way too much lifted off there. I guess I'm gonna have to just find a way to, when that dries, add more color back into that. I'll use the small brush here again later to lift off the highlights. Try and create more of a detailed look there as well. It's so nice that when you think something's gonna be a complete disaster, and then you find something that ends up working out, that is great. It's brought the joy back into this drawing. Okay, I like that. Now, some of these that are too dark, too light. Let's see if we can just use some of the surrounding colors to dull them down. And then I'm curious to see if maybe my lighter wax-based pencils will show up for the highlights. Let's see if we can make this more detailed. I'm going to take whatever excess I have on my brush, see if I can apply some of that purple on the beak. Yeah, there we go. It's looking a bit more balanced, isn't it? Right, I think maybe a lighter grey, like a blue grey maybe. Maybe even blue. This color looks like the right color. So slate grey, PC 936. Let's see what happens. Okay. Let's start at the top. Not doing much there. What about here? Yep. Okay. Let's see how much detailing we can add here. Because we can see in our reference that these are quite highlighted. It's working out slowly but surely. I may still come in with a titanium white in the end, because the highlight isn't, for just some of the real bright highlights, the titanium white might be a good option. starting to look okay. I'm wondering if maybe I can. Let's see if I could just make it look a little less foggy. I don't know how to explain it. Let's add a filter on there. Color correction. Less contrast. Too much contrast. Yeah, I think it was a bit too bright before, wasn't it? It's a bit better, I think. Just change the brightness. Cool. That's better, I think, isn't it? I can't see a before option now. Yay, Majin got a calendar! That's much better. Far out, I had the setting on way too bright. It only took me that long to realize. Okay, these feathers here are quite bright. Here. Yep, I'm adjusting it. The background was far too bright. So that's looks a little bit more like what I can see. A bit brighter, like in color saturation, but it's better than what it was. I wish I could use my DSLR for these videos, the live videos, because the colors of the DSLR is just set perfectly. These feathers are super bright, so they're going to be great to use with the titanium white later. Okay, now the contrast, I don't know, the contrast seems a bit too dark. That's better. So I'm just brushing the highlights on these with the side of my pencil. I'm not pressing hard at all. That's just going to define each feather a bit more. There's this feather here which is quite highlighted. Okay, let's get a nice sharp point. Okay, now that I have a few layers of pencil down, it definitely feels better than when it was just straight onto the paper. So much better. guys have been quiet for a while. You still there? Let me sharpen this up again. Thanks. I'm glad it's turning out semi-okay. I was getting ready to give up on this piece. 11 degrees and snow this weekend for you guys. Oh no. I'm standing here frying. It is only 29 degrees, but it feels like it's 40 degrees because of the humidity. So complete opposite for me. I can imagine you guys just getting really cozy and snug with your blankets in winter. Oh wow, it was so cold it took your breath away. Oh, the wind. Joanna's asking, has anyone used golden acrylic ground for pastels? I haven't even used golden acrylic ground full stop, so I wouldn't even have a clue as to how to use it to begin with. But maybe someone else on here knows. Sharpen this. So these feathers are a little more fluffy. Yeah, Jamie, I know what it feels like. The humidity is crazy, isn't it? Joanna says it's supposed to treat the paper to make it a pastel surface like the sanded paper. Oh, that sounds cool. Oh, I know what watercolor ground is. Yes, you could use that on MDF board or something. I actually have some. You can use it on MDF board and then you can apply pencils or watercolor or paint over the top of it. So, you're asking if anyone's tried the golden one. No, I didn't even know you get a golden one. That actually sounds quite nice. Sorry, I only just clicked what you were actually talking about. Oh, it's pastel ground. I have no idea about pastel ground then. If you find out how to use it, let us know. Or maybe if you can find a useful video online, then share it on the Odd Hordes page. That'd be great to know. That reminds me, I have to tell you, I finally bought Faber-Castell pastel pencils. Finally. So that I can try them properly, because I hated the Cretacolor ones. They were just very gritty. So now I can try them properly. Okay, I like. Starting to look like feathers. I didn't even use that many colors either, so that's turning out quite nice. Okay. So, something I'm noticing is that like the dark shadows are, the lines are just too thick. So maybe I can bring the highlights over more to make those lines a little bit more narrow. A bit better. Let's make them a bit more narrow. Okay. So I'd like to use the black again just to emphasize the super dark shadows, and then I'm going to use the titanium white. And then we're going to move on, because I don't think I can add any more layers. Okay, so the shadow under here is really dark. And here. Under here. Under these ones it's much darker. And here it's more of a shadow, much darker here. Okay. And here it gets really dark, although if I feel like it's just going to get very waxy if I add more. Here it's much darker. So not a very realistic crow, or it's realistic, but it's nowhere near hyper realistic. But that's okay. I'm quite happy with it. It looks like a crow. You can see the feathers. I'm just going to sort of leave it at that. I'm not going to worry about too much more detail in the feathers. Plus, we're already moving into January, so it's already time for us to move into the new stuff. I cannot spend more time on this. I still got to do the fantasy art drawing. I got to finish that, and that's quite a huge piece. I need to finish that this weekend before the January stuff starts. So this is just what's going to have to happen with the crow. It did put me back with the editing and the mistakes, but we shouldn't have any of these issues when in January with the jellyfish. So the jellyfish is going to be the 5-part live tutorial. Okay, so those shadows helped enhance that a bit. Let's enhance the shadows in here too, and around the eye. There we go, that picked it up a bit more. Or boosted it a bit more, should I say. Okay, let's see how the titanium white will help us out a little. I see you, Jamie. Thank you for joining us. Thanks, Maureen. Cool, so let's get the titanium white. So I'm just my mom wants to call me. Let me just let her know. Letting mom know that I'm live streaming, and then I'll call her in a bit. Okay, so this one, I'm going to take a brush and just apply some of the powder in the lid here. And then this, I need you apply water with this. Or the touch-up texture. Oopsie. The touch-up texture, I prefer using water because it's just thinner. It's much thinner. So otherwise, when you use a touch-up texture, the paste is really thick, and it just makes it a little bit trickier. Okay. Okay, let's put that aside. We've got the lid here, and now I'm using a really small brush, and I want to add some detailed little highlights in some sections. So over here, some areas that are a little bit more highlighted. Just a little bit more around the eye here. The beauty about the touch-up texture is that you can go over it with your colored pencils. There's some textured marks on the beak here. Okay, there's some a little bit of texture here, and if you mix it with enough water, then it's not quite, if it's a little bit more watered down, it's not like a bright white, so that helps. Okay, those areas, like here, I wanted to say chin, but you know, under the beak, there's quite a few highlighted areas here. What a difference that is making, isn't it? So we can fiddle with this for ages. Okay, so highlights on here, on the feathers here. You can, if it's not quite dry yet, then you can just sort of scratch off any excess. It needs to be wet, otherwise it won't work. Okay, there's some really cool bright highlights right here. I love this stuff. Such a great, I don't know, it's just such a cool thing to have. And I mean, that powder's gonna last you forever if you use it like this. A little bit goes a really long way. If you overdo it, it's fine. You can go over it with pencil. Oh dear. I'm trying to add more water so that I can try and lift it off. Or make it a little bit more subtle. Okay. I could spend a good little while on this. But I just noticed the time. I need to wake Vinny up to get ready for his night shift. So, I'm going to pause this and then I will carry on later. And if you guys are here, then great. And if you're not, that's okay. Because I know a lot of you need to go to sleep already. So, I'm going to pause and this is going to buffer for quite a long time until I'm ready. So, I'm not sure when I'll come back. So, maybe in about, I don't know. Vinny has to leave at, oh no, I've got a little bit of time. He only needs to leave at 5:30 in an hour and a half. So I'll wake him up in half an hour. Okay, let's carry on a bit more. So over here, there's textured little pieces. Like this. So this is going to be great for these little highlighted texture bits here. Joanna's saying every time I use the colored pencil powdered blender on sanded paper, it just removes all the color. What am I doing wrong? I agree. I'm not sure how to use it properly either. I never use the powder blender. I just don't use the powder blender. I like the titanium white, but I don't use the powder blender because I find the same thing. If you use it on the sanded paper, it just lifts it all off. So I'm not sure if I'm doing it wrong either. But I think, yeah, I don't know. It's something I struggle with too. But with the sanded paper, I blend using solvent. I still blend using solvent, it works. This is really working well, isn't it? It's just adding that boost to the feathers. I'm loving it. Oh, cool. Thanks, Jackie. So Lisa has a good tutorial on the powder blender and sanded paper, if that helps. Yeah, and I have Aliona's books. I need to actually have a look in there and see if there's a... She probably explains the right way to use it in her books. Oh dear. That one was a bit too thick. I'm just going over that with water. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to take an etching tool, I think. Okay. And just with some of these highlights that are just a little bit too extreme, I'm just going to soften them up. By just scratching off any of the excess. See, that just makes it die down a little. It's not quite as bright. Cool, that looks awesome. I actually really like that. I am very pleased with that. Okay, so I am going to stop for a while. I'm going to pause the stream. I'll probably be back in about an hour and a bit. So this screen is just going to buffer for ages until I can get back. So if you guys happen to be here later, then great. If not, that's fine. This will be up again later. Now, look what I've done there. That's what happens if you do not protect your work. No, now look at that. I didn't even notice. I'm not even gonna try and fix that. That is not gonna come off. Cool, so all I have left to do is the claws and the rock that the bird is on, and then we'll be done with this one. Yeah. Oh, thanks Maureen for sharing that. Oh, there's nothing in the colored pencil Bible about it. But Alyona has a YouTube video with the powdered blender. Okay. Thanks, Maureen shared that link on the Sheldine Art Hoards page. Cool. I just realized I didn't change the name on the top right corner. But anyways, you guys would have been able to see that I used the colored pencil titanium white powder blender for all the white highlights, and I mixed it up with a little bit of water to create those highlights. Thank you! Considering that the surface of the paper just turned to crap, I am quite happy with the way it actually turned out. It worked. So if you persevere enough, you can make something look pretty cool. I gotta fix that. Something there is not right, but I'll do that later. Okay, thanks guys for tuning in. I may see you a little bit later or I may not. If not, good night, and I will see you guys in tomorrow's video when I do the smart art box. Thanks guys. See you. Bye. Okay, I'm back. Lights. I need lights. Need music. Cool. Right, so now we're gonna work on the claws. Honey, Tyler. Oi. Come relax. You just ate. Go lie down. Go lie down. It's raining outside, and now they've got all the energy in the world. But when they play extremely rough. So I don't want them playing in the house because they knock things over. Okay, let's work on these. I don't know, what do you call them? Do you call them claws? Bird feet? Are they feet? Bird legs. Just bird legs. Hey Maureen. Okay. Oh, there's 4 of you guys on here. Who else is on still? Right, let's use the black. Sharpen that, so we'll get all the dark areas in first. There's the black. So I'll still create like little textured areas, but like there's some really bright highlights on the bird feet as well, so we will be able to use our titanium white for that too. Okay, so underneath this talon, it's very dark. I don't know if you can hear the squeaking. One of them has a squeaky toy. Entertaining themselves. Okay. Now I'm going to use the indigo blue. Indigo blue PC901. Yeah, Honey's gotten quite pro at removing squeakers out of toys. It's good, it keeps her busy. It's good. At least she doesn't eat it either. She just spits it out. Okay, let's blend that in. Okay, let's find a nice light gray. Let's go with the light blue. Let's go with powder blue, PC1087. Sharpen that up. Maureen says her dog does it too. You have to buy her stuffing-free toys. Yeah, it's too weird. Well, she pulls the stuffing out, but still, I don't like the stuff that is in stuffing. It's not something I want in their mouth to begin with. But there's quite a few toys now that are stuffing-free at least. Cool, just adding these little highlights of the blue is already making it look pretty realistic. Okay, I think I want to add some purple to balance it out. I'm going to use the dioxazine purple hue. Oh, my washing machine is screaming at me. Dioxazine purple hue, PC 132. Sharpen that. I'm going to blend that in with the solvent, and then I'm going to apply the titanium white. Okay, so getting the titanium white out again. So there's still a bit of powder in there that I'm just going to blend and put some water in there. It should be enough. So I'm using little dotted areas here to create those textures on the, I don't know, the skin part of the claws. Just looks like really tough skin. Texture in here as well. Honey, what are you doing? Sound like you're inhaling the carpet. Cool, I love that. That really gave it a nice effect. Now we can work on the rock. Adding some water. Okay, so I think we will use a grade lavender PC 1026. Lavender PC 1026. Okay, so let's get some shapes in there so I can see that this goes right under the tail. Up here. Here, just using my pencil, the side of my pencil, and sort of looking at my reference to see which areas have shadow. sure it goes across more. Okay, let's use a bit of a darker grey to establish some of the areas up there. I think I'm going to go with the 50% warm grey, PC 1054. This goes up here, dark area here, dip here. Go over some of the purple areas to give it more depth. Battery change. There is a bit of a brownish color, and I'm not afraid to use this because we've got some of these colors in the background. So 50% French grey, PC 1072. Cool. Use the side and just go over all of it. I'm gonna blend that in with the solvent, and then we can add more details. At least the nice thing is we're doing rocks, so it's not it doesn't have to be perfect. We don't have to worry too much of the details or the movement of the pencil color because of the issue we had with this fixative on the paper. Okay. Now, let's actually use a very light color. Let's use the 10% French grey to create little textures on the rock. PC 1068. So there's some texture there. Sharpen this up. Thank you, Maureen. Maureen says the crow has turned out fabulously. Thanks. I'm quite happy considering what we've been through. It still looks quite nice. And I love the background. I think the background just makes it even better. It just makes it feel very complete. The amount of detail I thought I was able to get when I thought all hope was lost. Yes. I know. It's nice. Sometimes it's good, even though you think that it's going to be a total disaster. I guess it pays off to just persevere through it, because you may surprise yourself. Because we ended up finding something that, you know, ended up working. So because the color lifted off, we ended up using that to our advantage. And we also had a nice play around with the titanium white highlighting powder by brush and pencil, which ended up really adding to the detail. So we wouldn't have done all that if there wasn't those hiccups along the way. See what a nice effect this grey is having? It's just adding some texture and making the rock look more three-dimensional. Some areas can have a teeny bit more shadow. I'm thinking maybe a little bit of the blue. Let's use the indigo blue for a bit more of the shadow, and then we can blend that in and use the titanium white for touch-up highlights, and then maybe we will be done. Okay, indigo blue PC 901. I know, Maureen, I feel the same. I also wish I could save the Muhammad Ali, but it's literally flaking off of the MDF board because I didn't create the surface properly. I just gessoed it, and I should have put the watercolor ground over the top of it, but I didn't, because I didn't know about it until afterwards, and just nothing is sticking to it. It's very sad. But sometimes these things happen. And I don't want to paint over it to use the board. It's just, there's so much time was put into it, I still just want to just leave it there like that. No, don't worry. You won't make me sad. You know, it's something that happened. It's not the end of the world. Still creating art. It doesn't make me sad looking at it or talking about it or anything. It's just, yeah, one of those things. It happened, can't fix it, and that's it. That be life. Cool, so that looks quite nice. Let's blend that in and see where we're at. Oh, that's very blue. But that actually looks fine. Okay, so that's very blue. Let's make that blue die down a bit more by adding some more of the 50% French grey, PC1072. I'm just going to go over the blue. Make it a little more subtle. Then I may have to come back over again, you know, add a bit of the purple back in there. Cool, it's looking like a nice textured rock. Wait, what grey did we use before? Let's go back with that one. Yeah, let's use a bit of the 90% warm grey, PC1058. Yes, I like that. And the purple again. Grade Lavender, PC 1026. Go over all of it. Yes. Okay, blend that in with solvent. Cool, I like that. Now when we use the titanium white again, that should add those extra details, because it's not very dark, this rock, at all. Let's put a bit more powder on there. Keep knocking the camera because I'm standing. Okay, so that? That looks like a rock. That looks like a rock. Let's just see if we lift this off. It might give us a better perspective. Yes. Yes, much better. Ooh, that looks so cool. Okay. I think I am ready to sign this. I am ready to be done with this drawing. I'm going to test something real quick. Got all these blue marks from my hands because I didn't clean my hands. So that looks fine. I'm not going to work it anymore because I'll probably do something to ruin it. Okay, cool. Now let's take the border off, see what it looks like, and then sign it. I think I'll sign it in this corner here. Some of the titanium white powder on me. There we go. Cool, let's zoom out. Just a little. Look at that. I am very, very happy. Very happy. I think that looks good. It turned out okay. After all the struggles we had, the end result looks good. Okay, let's sign it. Let's use a white pencil. No, I'm gonna use my white paint marker to make very sure that it shows up, and I'm gonna sign it on the left here. There we go. And that be it. So this was going to be a 5-part tutorial, but now it's a 4-part tutorial. I know that this is part 4 and it's out before part 3, but I'll edit part 3 so that will be out tonight, and then you should have all parts to the tutorial. And you will be able to learn from my mistakes, because there were quite a few things that I did wrong, but it still ended up looking quite nice, and I am pleased that we were sort of able to save it in a way. So thank you to those who joined in. Maureen, thank you so much, and to everybody else who was watching. And I just want to add a little bit of a shadow here, just a bit more. There you go, that's a bit better. Blend it in. But yes, I'm very happy we were able to save this. And so next month we're going to do a 5-part tutorial on the jellyfish, so that's going to be quite fun. And yes, I'm quite pleased to be done with this. Maureen, you may go to sleep now. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.